Um, Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to one more lesson of creativity and innovation. This is live class number 5. Some days ago, I made available for you on our virtual environment a video class that I talked about the brain and the relationship the brain had with creativity and innovation. And also, I talked about the golden circle in one of those classes, which is a methodology created by Simon Sinek in 2009 that we are going to talk a little bit more about today. Okay, so let's go for it. Here I have a book from Simon Sinek. Okay, it's the name in English is Find Your Why, which is a sequence from the other book, a previous book from this author, which was Start with Why. And that is the book I'm going to talk about today. I also have this book, but not here with me because, I'm isolated too, so I can't just go to my office and take the book. So, whatever. I'm going to talk about that book with you today. Okay? Well, in 2009, the author Simon Sinek gave a TED talk called How Great Leaders Inspire Action. This 18 and a half minute long viral TED talk called on businesses leaders to start with why. Why isn't just a word, it's a powerful concept. In his telling book, Simon Sinek demonstrates why organizations guided by this concept will succeed more often than those which don't. So, in the first chapter of the book, which was called Assume You Know, which is the first chapter of Start with Why book, the author dives into the assumptions that we make and the impact that they have on our actions. Sinek gives examples of scenarios where looking at the bigger picture can shape your behavior towards driving long term results. Take the classic example of an American car manufacturers versus a Japanese one. In American car factories, workers on the assembly line they apply final fixes on doors using a kind of rubber mallet. Whereas in Japan, the doors are engineered to fit perfectly from the start. This is also a metaphor for leadership. There are two types of leaders: those who decide to manipulate to get to the end result, and those who start with the end result in mind and let everything else naturally fall into place. Well, in chapter number 2 of that book, which is called Carrots and Sticks, Cynic, according to Cynic, there are two ways to attract customers: inspiring the carrots or manipulating the sticks. Most of the sales tactics used by businesses today involve manipulation, and these could include price, promotions, fear, aspirations, peer pressure, and novelty. Pricing and promotions are the most common identified forms of sales manipulation, but fear, aspirations, peer pressure, and novelty tend to be more discreet. Regardless of the type of manipulation, it's important to understand these are short term solutions which end up leading to a cycle of repeated manipulation. Continuing too far down this path will impact long term profitability. But there is another way which is reviewed in chapter number 3. Chapter number 3, which is called The Golden Circle, that I also talked about some classes ago for you. This is like the core of Simon Sinek's Start with Why book. There are 3 parts of the Golden Circle, which are why, how, and what. Why? Very few people or very few companies can clearly articulate why they do what they do. This isn't about running a profitable company. That is a result. Why is all about your purpose. Why does your company exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care about that? Okay. The second word from the golden circle is how. Some people and some companies, they know how they do what they do. Whether you call them a differentiating value proposition or a unique selling proposition, you know, the hows are often used. They're often given to explain how something is different or better. Okay. And the third word from the golden cycle, is the what. Every single company on the planet knows what they do. This is true no matter how big or how small the company is, or no matter what industry they belong to. Everyone can easily describe the products or services their company sells, or the job function they have within the company. For example, I work in an education institution. Okay, so my product is knowledge, is what I can sell for the students. I can sell knowledge. That's basically it. But the how and the why, it's a little bit more difficult to understand. When we start with why instead of what, we go from the inside of the circle to the outside. Why is the reason to buy, and the what's merely represent the tangible products as a proof of that belief. So, my what, I would say, more than knowledge, is a course. So I sell a course. An educational institution sells courses. Those are the whats. But the whys, you have to start with the whys to understand the purpose of doing that. You know, whats are the reasons we can point to rationalize why we so much like a company over another. So let's move on to chapter number 4 of that book. Chapter number four is called "This is not opinion. This is biology." So, chapter 4 begins by focusing on human nature's desire to belong. You know, this desire drives us to pursue others who share the same whys as us. And oddly enough, the golden circle matches the way our brain operates. You know, remember the class that I talked about the brain? So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the brain now, and why is it linked to the golden circle? Okay. So we have the neocortex. Our neocortex corresponds to the what level. You know, this is responsible for all our rational and analytical thought and language. This allows us to look through vast amounts of facts and figures, but it doesn't drive behavior. Then we have the limbic brain, which is the middle, of the brain. The middle two sections make up our limbic brain, and they are responsible for all of our feelings. It was also called in that class the emotional brain. So, this this part of the brain roughly corresponds with the Y level. This area of the brain is responsible for all human behavior and all our decision making. We want to be around people and around organizations who are like us and share our beliefs. When companies start with their why, with their purpose, with what they believe, they will tap into our innate drive to include those products as symbols of our values and beliefs. They make us feel special, like we belong to something bigger. And we feel a sense of tribe affiliation with all the others that are buying the same product as us. Most companies generally start with their what's or sometimes with their hows because that's what their customers ask for. They ask for great quality, low price, 24-hour services, and lots of other features, And it is all scientifically sounding, and it's all scientifically sounding because it's based on data. But according to Simon Sinek, that is a load of Bellamy. Uh, the part of the brain controlling decision making is different from the part of the brain reporting back why the decision happened. So, all those focus groups and questionnaires are probably of little value. So, to end up the thoughts I'm giving you here right now, I would like to quote Henry Ford when he said, "If I asked people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse." So, what I'm trying to say here, guys, is that um, you don't have to ask people as a company, you don't have to ask your customer what they want. You have to try to find why they want that. You have to start with why, start with the purpose. And here, as I showed you in the beginning of this class, I have the sequence of that book. That book that I talked about today, which is Start with Why, it talks about the golden circle in general. And this book, which is a sequence, is Find Your Why. It shows how you can go for the purpose, how you can find your why. Okay, so I will talk about this book in another class. Okay, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to know more about the golden circle or the golden cycle, some people say in different ways. You can even put on Google. You can put the name of the author, which is this one, Simon Sinek. Okay, and then type there. Start with why, and then you find loads of pages of information about the golden circle. Or if you prefer, you put golden circle by Simon Sinek. You can find loads of information also. You can watch the TED Talk that he gave like 11 years ago, and in which he talked about the golden circle. All right? So that's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this class. See you next class. Bye-bye.